Hello and welcome to another Wizard Wants to Watch Out video. In this video I'm going to be going over the brand new ban list and giving my thoughts on what decks are going to come out on top in this new format. So let's go over the forbidden cards. We have Cyberstein and Super Heavy Samurai Scarecrow, so those are both hits to the Super Heavy Samurai deck. Crazy combo deck. I mean, like any deck, this format is losing to hand traps, but it will shake up what hand traps we have to main inside deck compared to what we're doing. Well, I guess until the 5th of June. You have number 89, great hit. Kashtira is still going to be a strong deck, but we are not going to have to play multiples of things like Zeus in our extra deck anymore. Like, yep, Kashtira Unicorn's still able to rip, but the Unicorn rip is a lot more situational compared to what Diablosis was letting them do. Appointer of the Red Lotus, it's one of those cards. It was limited before, so if your opponent drew it and they were side decking, like they were probably winning that game because you just hit whatever problem card is in your opponent's hand. They essentially have to draw multiple ways to break your board, which was really annoying. So glad that card's gone. Branded Expulsion makes branded locks a lot harder. I know some of my most viewed videos are based on branded locks, but with Albion Sanctifier Dragon, you can still do them. It's just way harder to set up, unless you're using Jowgen the Spiritualist, but we'll make another video on that one. Moving on to Limited, we have Blaster, Dragon Ruler of Infernos. Of all the Dragon Rollers come back, this one's the most inoffensive. Like, it's just a big beater. It's fire. Like, all the effects are hard once per turn. You can only use one of them, so it's not a crazy card. Tidal and Redox, I personally don't think they would do anything crazy if they came back, but I know some folks disagree with that. Circular, Math Mech. Is everyone going to stop complaining about Access Code OTK now because Circular is limited? But who knows. It's a good hit. They just kind of lowered the ceiling for a lot of decks, except Dragon Link. But overall, like Gamma to 1, like we're just copying OCG at this point, which is fine. Like I have one Collector's Rare Gamma, so if I do decide to keep playing it, like I know some people are like, oh yeah, 1 Gamma to 1 Driver, that's like a 1 brick to 1 not brick. Like it's... But Gamma's crazy. We'll have to see in the new format it's worth playing. Like I'd say like loading that up, depending on when you would get ashed or hand trapped if you control no monsters, like could be very useful to still play the Gamma. Denlong, the boy, he's back. Had someone already ask me like what are the ratios for playing, like because you've probably heard people talk about like Denlong's like 3 interruptions, and that's pretty true. So you can do like I would say look at the World's 2017 winning Dino list. And that'll give you a better idea of like Yanking ratios you should be playing if you want to experiment with Denlong. Another thought that RJ in my group chat was bringing up was you could have like Adventure with Ringo Worm, because you could just, instead of searching Griffin, search Second Enchantress off Faithful, and then go Ringo Worm, go those into Denlong. Pretty cool. Arise Hard to 1, fantastic hit. Kashtira is still going to be a really good deck, but the amount of pressure this card puts on graveyard-reliant decks was insane. And it's a removal option, too. So, having that to 1, it's almost like you out it, and unless, like, I know MST TV brought up, like, potentially Monster Reborn to bring it back from your graveyard, which is pretty strong. But maybe they do stuff with Cypherframe Omega, where, like, they banish this, like, Scareclaw Cash, and then use Omega to, like, shuffle it back to deck. But I still have to look into that. Purely Delicious Memory, this one, great hit. It's because I love dragons that everything that isn't dragons is a fantastic hit. But getting to the Quick Play Purely spells, like my friend Purely, like instead of it being a guaranteed search, now it's a 33% search. And without this, you're not getting into Plump. At this point, Plump is going to be used by Sprite to be able to get a 6 material Zeus. And then Notorious Sacred Tree, like, the search, the non-once per turn search was pretty crazy, so absolutely understand why it's limited. So moving on to semi-limited, we have Herald the Orange Light. With all these Shizu cards limited, like this is fine. Like, is this going to turn into Drytron coming back? Like, I hope not, but that's definitely a deck that could be looked at now. Kashtira Unicorn to 2. Just a consistency hit. I think people would have preferred if Birth was limited instead. But Unicorn to 2, like it's It's fine. It kind of reduces your chances of getting extra deck ripped anyway. Lightning Storm to 2. If Gamma was copying the OCG, this is just copying like OCG philosophy outright. Like, I don't think I've ever sided 3 Lightning Storm. It's always like 2 Storm, 1 Feather Duster, and if I want to have extra stuff, it'd be like evenly matched. So, I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to do here. You have Runic Fountain to 2. I know some lists are playing 3, especially with Kashtira in the format, ripping cards off the top of your deck. But now that Kashtira is toned down, you don't have Diablosis to rip. Like, you're ripping 3 cards off the top of their deck with Rise Heart. You're not ripping 7 with Diablosis in total. And then Engage to 2. We gotta sell Strikers again, I guess, because we have the alt art print in Monstrous Revenge coming up. But I kept all my Striker stuff, so I'm pretty happy. I think Striker will be a fun deck. Again, Bystials kind of hit it, so are Bystials going to become more popular after this list? Probably, depending on the decks that are being played. Between Branded, Striker, and things like that, they all get hurt by Bystials pretty bad. And then Sprite started too, just a consistency hit to Sprite. That's fine. Deck's still super playable, so I don't see any issue with that. And then moving on to the limited, most of them are pretty uneventful. You have Steam and Cloak, Birdman, Samara Lotus, Quick Fix, like, just cards you're probably not going to see played at 3. Like, I know some Spiral players are excited for Quick Fix, but then you remember that Master Plane's still forbidden, so, yeah. Recital Starling, same thing. I don't know if it's going to change. People can play 3 that instead of 2. Draco Face Off, multi-roll. You might play 2 multi-roll. I don't know if you'd play 3 at this point, especially when you have 2 Engage now. So, that's the ban list. What decks do I think are going to do really well? I think Dragons, they're not going to be the best deck of the format, but are definitely in a better position than they currently are. And I think they're in a pretty decent position. Super Heavies and Purely are going to fall off, even though Purely already wasn't getting results. Like, with one Delicious Memory, you're not getting to Noir as consistently. And that's like what the deck does. Draws a bunch of hand traps and puts towers on board. So if you're not able to do one of those 2 things, then what do you do? Like, what are you going to do to win? Branded, I think, is still being really good. I know everyone says every beginning of the format, Branded's going to be the best deck. I genuinely think it might be, and I'm usually like a Branded naysayer. Every time I play it, I hate it. So maybe this is going to be the time that's actually going to be good. So yeah, it's Kashtira, Branded, Dragons will do fine, and then maybe there'll be a surprise, like, well, Sprite's going to be in there too. Maybe a surprise like Drytron is going to pop up. I mean, Labyrinth kind of got off scot-free. They didn't hit any of the virus cards. So, maybe watch out for that as well. So that's all I have for this. I'm going on vacation for 3 weeks before the new format starts, so don't expect any new format videos before like the end of June, but I will film probably 1 or 2 combo videos before I leave. So that's all I have for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.